Welcome to Show Me Something Wrong,
where each episode one of us chooses a movie to watch that the other hasn't seen. The movie is often obscure, usually odd, and always wrong. I'm Dave.
I'm Guy.
And I'm Matt.
Whoa.
Who?
Today, I've chosen the movie, and it's Houseboat Horror from 1989, directed by Ollie Martin and Kendall Flanagan of Neighbours fame.
Oh! I didn't know that.
We'll get into that soon.
Okay.
So, Guy, we've got a special guest on today's episode. Who's this cunt?
Whoa! I heard Matt.
Hi.
Is he also from Neighbours? Is this a reunion episode?
Matt, have you ever been on Neighbours before?
No, I've never been on Neighbours.
Have you got any connection to Neighbours at all?
I know some writers on Neighbours.
Do you have neighbours, Matt?
Yeah, I do. I have a neighbour who I play basketball with.
Knockout stuff. It's all coming together, isn't it? Good stuff. So we should probably introduce Matt then. Who is this guy?
So today we're joined by a very special guest. Today we have star of Cat Sick Blues and prolific comedy writer, part of Touched by an Ankle Grinder.
Wow.
Ankle Grinder?
Yeah.
Why did I say ankle?
Either works. Teabag for short.
Teabag. But yeah, we have Matthew C. Vaughan. Thanks for joining, Matt.
Hey.
Thank you for the introduction. Are you collecting shittier versions of famous people? You've got Guy Pearce and Matthew Vaughan.
Yeah.
What's next? Like Hugh Grant? Do you have any Hugh Grant?
That is, yeah. How's the new Kingsman movie coming along, Matt?
A true story. I sometimes get people tweeting at me, asking me about updates on the Kingsman's movies, and I will. I often send out replies just like, just lies basically. Just saying, the new we're going in a new direction where we'll be filming Queen's Women, and things like.
Didn't you say that there was going to be a sequel called King's Boys? Oh, boy. But yes, I invited Matt on today because we're talking about a very, very, very Australian film. And I thought it might be a bit overwhelming for Guy.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on. I'm so glad Matt.
When I was watching this again, I was like, oh, fuck, I can barely understand what's going on.
I struggled. I'm not going to lie. I struggled with this movie a lot on multiple levels. So I feel like you Aussies can kind of take the reins with this one. I'm just going to be in the background like, so that's what that meant.
But I feel like your reactions to things in this is going to be quite funny.
I'll provide the confusion to the episode.
Excellent. So where to start with this film? So Guy, I'm guessing you've never heard of this before I mentioned it in the last episode.
Yeah.
How about Matt? Have you heard of or seen Houseboat Horror before this?
I hadn't seen it, but I have heard of it, and I've seen clips of it. I've never watched it in full, but yeah, I've known about it for decades, I could say. Yeah,
that long, okay.
You might get to this, but there was a sketch. There was a segment on a sketch show that Tony Martin. It was the show's called The Late Show, and Tony Martin introduced a segment, and it was about houseboat horror, and he showed some classic clips from this very, very amazing film.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to talk about, Matt. So that's why I know this film, and probably why most Australians know this film. So back in 92 or 93, on The Late Show, Tony Martin had a segment called Undiscovered Masterpieces of the Cinema.
Wow, that's a stretch.
Yeah. Where he would discuss terrible movies, and yeah, this was one of them. So apparently after they aired that segment, the ABC, the Australian TV channel that aired the show, got a whole lot of phone calls from crew members and cast of Houseboat Horror complaining because they hadn't been paid for the film.
Oh, wow.
They're like still waiting to be paid. So yeah, that's how I knew of the film. And like Matt, at that time, I'd only seen clips of it just from The Late Show. And then in my film school days, we used to do bad movie nights. And this was a very memorable bad movie night. Yeah, this has a reputation as being one of the worst, if not the worst, Australian films ever made.
It's not good.
All right, so I've got a whole lot of backstory for this film.
Oh, great.
But before I get into it as well, I want to give credit to Ben Hellwig and Jarrett Garn from Monster Pictures. So they recently put out, I'll show it on screen, this absolute fucking beast of a Blu-ray release.
That's massive.
Yeah, from Umbrella, and Ben and Jarrett did all the extras for it. I'm not exaggerating. This is probably the best Blu-ray release I've ever seen. Like the amount of extras on this is insane. Totally undeserved for this film.
But does this film have that kind of like cult following that you would imagine from like a shot on video shitty slasher horror film?
I think it does, yeah. And I think over the years it's like built up more and more and more. Yeah, but I feel like it definitely started back with that Late Show sketch, and it's kind of built its infamy from there.
Completely off topic, but I think that's how the story of Ricky became known to a lot of people. That was also featured, like one of the scenes was featured on some talk show and in America, and then from there it just blew up. And even like on the front cover, it's like featuring that scene that was played on this fucking talk show. I can't remember what it was, but I feel like that was a lot of people's introduction to it.
I remember that on my DVD. It had that featured on this. That was like the head smashing scene, right?
Yeah. Funny.
Matt, have you seen Story of Ricky?
No, I haven't. You put together an amazing montage of all the fights and gore in it. I can't remember what it was for. I think it was just for your YouTube channel.
Did you do a mixtape, Dave? Did you do a gore mixtape?
I did.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I did a mixtape. It was awful, but
Hello, I'm director Dave Jackson. These are all my favorite gore scenes.
Yeah, there was a Story of Ricky montage, but the best thing on that mixtape, Matt, do you remember the tribute to Cats?
Yes.
Clip that I did?
Yes.
Guy, have I ever shown you that?
No, I've not seen the tribute to Cats.
I'll have to send that to you. I took all of these like cat videos from YouTube, but made it like a fucking nightmare. It's probably the thing I'm most proud of that I've ever made.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
This is not included in the gore montages. These aren't like dead cats. These are
no
nice cats. These are not what's nice cats. These are living cats.
These are nice cats, not dead cats. All right, well, let's dive into the backstory of Houseboat Horror before we get into the film itself. So I wanted to start with Ollie Martin, who is the main kind of driving force behind this film. So he's the writer, he's the co-producer, and the co-director. And I think, Matt, you're going to recognize him. You might not know the name, but you do know this guy. And it might surprise you how you know him. I've got a few comments on what Ollie Martin was like as a person. He's unfortunately passed away. Actually, both the directors of this film have passed away. So in all the extras, there's nothing from them, but a lot of people talking about the two directors. So Ollie Martin, Ray Bosley, the director of Smoke 'Em If You've Got 'Em. Remember that film, Matt?
Yeah, he was a
great Australian film.
He was also Ray Bosley wrote a lot of kids' TV.
Yeah, like Round the Twist and stuff like that. Yeah,
he may have been a writer on one of the shows that we wrote. My writing party, Greta and I wrote on as well.
We've met him before, right? Because we went to a screening of Smoke 'Em If You've Got 'Em. Yeah. So he has a connection to this film, which we'll get to later. But he describes Ollie Martin as a cross between Chuck Barris and Ed Wood, with Cliff Richard's fashion sense.
Wow. That's quite a combination.
Yeah. So Ollie Martin, he was like a showman. You know, one of those guys who could really talk the talk and get people very excited for a project, no matter what it was. People say a lot of positive things about him, but he also seems like he was a bit of a shyster as well, kind of tricking people into getting involved in his films. But he's probably best known as a journalist. in the 80s, he used to be a reporter on a show called Nightlife. And it was a show that was essentially just advertisements for nightclubs. And he also worked in breakfast radio. And he was known as the giveaway king at the Melbourne radio station 3TT. And he used to, like, at 6 a.m, the co-director of Houseboat Horror would be giving away frozen chickens by the Yarra River.
What?
Like the early morning. So yeah, he's like, they'd be on the radio and they're like, oh, come down to the Yarra River today and get a chicken.
Is that a thing?
I guess it was back in
Australia
in the
is
80s.
wild.
Yeah, Australia. This film and doing the research for this film made me both very proud and very ashamed of being an Australian.
Yeah, I think I did mention to you, Dave, I think this is the most Australian film I have ever seen in my life.
It is distressingly Australian.
Yeah, but I can totally imagine how this can be like an Australian person's like pride of being like, this is so Australian that I kind of love it because it reminds me so much of home, but also like someone's complete embarrassment and just shame.
Yeah. It is the perfect combo of those two things. Yeah.
It's like a collection of the worst gronks, basically.
Did you say gronks?
Yeah, gronks.
What's a gronk?
I guess like a bogan, but
What's a bogan? This is already getting over my head.
drongo. You know what a drongo is?
I know what a dingo is.
Do you remember, Guy, we talked about bogans back in the Bucks Party episode?
Vaguely, but I don't remember the definition.
It's quite hard to define because it is very Australian. I don't know what the British or American equivalent really is.
Maybe chav?
Oh, chav.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We say chavs. Yeah, okay.
In a way, but it's very... You kind of have to go to Australia and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a bogan. Yeah.
I searched what bogan means, and all the results are in German.
Maybe a different kind of bogan there.
Der Bogen, eines Kreises, eine English. Okay, so that's what it is. So that's the same as a gronk, was it? A gronk?
A gronk.
A gronk. All right.
Basically, you know the guy in Houseboat Horror that has the mullet?
Yeah.
So he's a gronk.
Okay.
That's a gronk.
Okay.
That's your definition of a gronk.
Gotcha.
Right there.
All right.
He's the king of the gronks in this film, I would say.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Ollie Martin was a journalist on TV, was the giveaway king at a radio station. He was also the manager of a demolition derby stunt show called the Hollywood Hell Drivers, not from Hollywood. And he directed a documentary about these guys, which I'm going to talk about later as well. But what I know him from, and I think Matt will probably know him from as well, in the late 90s, Ollie Martin was the star of these Melbourne, specifically to Melbourne TV commercials for Australian lighting.
Oh.
I'm going to send you a link now so you guys can watch it and get a sense of what Ollie Martin is like. So we're going to pause here. If you're listening at home there, maybe just get onto YouTube and search for Australian lighting TV commercial and you should be able to find it.
Hey, where you going? Yes, everyone's going to the Australian Lighting 3-day sale. Australia's biggest and best lighting range. Sale is on now. Brass lights, we got them. Crystals, we got them. Customers, we want them. So get down to any Australian lighting store. Hurry, limited stock. So where you going?
So there you go.
I didn't know that, Dave. That's great.
That is the director.
Great research.
This is the director of Houseboat Horror.
Yeah. And those ads, like, I remember them so well. And seeing that, I'm like, holy shit, I cannot believe that's the same guy that directed fucking Houseboat Horror. So yeah, a real wheeler and dealer, able to attract people into his projects, and kind of a bit of a bullshit artist as well.
Was he a con man by any chance? Because I don't buy his lighting sales.
Yeah, I think he was maybe a little bit of a con man, but a passionate. He was passionate about what he did as well. Talking about him being a con man, he actually moved to LA at one point and had a fake office at the Beverly Hilton in Hollywood.
Oh, brilliant.
So he just had this sort of fake office set up there.
He's definitely a shady character.
Yeah. But in a kind of more like less shady, less con man sort of way, he was genuinely fascinated by filmmaking. and he went to Swinburne University in Melbourne, and that's where he studied film. And despite the quality of Houseboat Horror, he is actually a director of some talent. So his graduating film for Swinburne, which is called The Dummerer, Dummerer. Do you know what that means?
No.
I had to look it up. It's wait, let me double check it. Oh yeah, so a dummerer is a tramp that pretends that they can't speak.
Wait, what? That's a thing? That's extremely specific.
A tramp who feigns that he or she is unable to speak.
Dummerer.
It's like the most specific term I've ever heard. But yeah, so that was his short film, which makes sense because it is about a tramp who can't speak or feigns that he can't speak. And it's actually a really fucking good film. It's on the Houseboat Horror Blu-ray as like an Easter egg hidden a little extra.
Oh, awesome.
And yeah, it's like a very well-made, well-crafted, kind of moody film. Yeah, it's essentially the opposite of Houseboat Horror. So somewhere along the line, his interest shifted to horror. And he became obsessed with the idea of making a horror film.
So all the shit that we saw today is a stylistic choice, is what
well-
you're saying. Because nothing today was well made. The one we're talking about today.
Well, we'll get to why that might be as well, because that's also pretty fascinating.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, basically, Ollie Martin, in 86, he watched this film called Marauders. Do you know that film, Matt?
Yep. Yeah, I do. It's an Australian film.
Yeah, so it's by a guy called Mark Savage, and it's one of the first shot-on-video features from Australia, but it actually never got distribution in Australia. But Ollie Martin somehow managed to see this film, and he ended up meeting the director, Mark Savage, while they were working on TV commercials together. And Ollie Martin just grilled him about making horror and kind of became obsessed with it. He then decided he wanted to make the first Australian shot-on-video horror film that would actually be released in Australia, unlike Marauders. And he got the producer of the TV show he was working on, Nightlife, Greg Petherick, involved in making this film. He wanted Houseboat Horror to be a film that made money. He didn't want it to just be some, film that, wasn't a commercial success. He was very, focused on it being a commercial success. And he didn't want this to be a tax incentive film. Matt, do you know about Australian tax incentive films?
Like the 10BA.
Yeah.
I don't know when it started. Maybe late 70s or early 80s. It was basically a tax break where it was producers could, was it 40% or 50% back? So there was this massive amount of films made, Australian films made in the 80s, and they were all sort of, not all of them, but a lot of them were genre films, a lot of schlock, and it was this amazing era of filmmaking in Australia, wasn't it, Dave?
And they basically, these films didn't have to make money because of this this tax incentive thing. So they could make these films and just not make any money back. But yeah, Ollie Martin did not want this film to be like this, and the funding for this film came from somewhere completely fucking crazy, which might make some of the dialogue in the film make a bit more sense. So the film was funded by a nightclub called Underground, which was a famous club on King Street in Melbourne. It's now a Centrefold Lounge, which is that a strip club?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is, right? So at the time, this was the Underground was this super popular club where if any celebrities were coming to Australia, they would go to this place. So David Bowie, John Travolta, Liza Minnelli, all of those people went there at some point in time. So somehow he got this nightclub to fund this film, which is fucking crazy. So you might notice in the film that this place, the Underground, is referenced constantly throughout the film.
I think I can there's probably at least 4 or 5 times that it gets mentioned. Underground disco.
Yeah. So
in your research, Dave, do you know how much the budget was?
It's a good question. I had some different amounts written down, but I could not find like I couldn't really get an official number. So I saw like one thing reference like the Underground giving them 10 grand, which I don't think is right. And then another number was like 200,000 for the budget, which seems more realistic. But yeah, I think it was something like that.
Yeah, that was the number I found. 225,000.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where the budget went if the actors if only 3 of the actors got paid.
Yeah. Well, we might talk about where I know 2 people that got paid for this film, so we'll talk about them as we get to them. But anyway, so with all the money in place from the Underground nightclub, they were ready to shoot. Ollie Martin got everyone ready to go for this film shoot, but 3 days into shooting, he left as director. He shot 2 scenes.
This is the lighting guy, the salesman.
Yeah, the lighting man. Yeah. So the main driving force behind this, the guy that was super pumped to make this film, he shot 2 scenes, worked on it for 3 days, and basically what was happening is it was taking a long time to shoot. All the actors were complaining, and it was causing massive budgetary problems. So Ollie Martin kind of realized that he wasn't cut out to make this film with the budget that it was at. And apparently he fired himself. And then they were like, all right, we need to get someone who's really fast at directing. So they hired this guy, Kendall Flanagan, a man with many, many different spellings for his name, apparently due to bankruptcy issues throughout his life.
Wow, I did not know that.
And Kendall Flanagan has also passed away, so he wasn't involved in any of the extras on the Blu-ray. But he was a prolific director of Neighbours. So he directed a fuck ton of Neighbours and a whole lot of Prisoner as well, which is a very famous Australian TV show. So he was a totally different kind of director and just smashed through the rest of this shooting schedule, which kind of, yeah, you can see it's a very Neighbours looking film. So that's the setup for Houseboat Horror. When we dive into it, I've got a whole lot of extra bits of information that we can pepper in throughout. But shall we get into the film itself?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So, we're starting with a beautiful opening shot of the countryside. At which point, I was like, what the fuck was this shot on? I don't know why, but I thought... Because I knew nothing about this film, but I saw the beautiful box set that you have in your living room, Dave. And for some reason, I just thought this was a relatively recent movie. And then I got the opening shot, and I thought, wow, this looks like absolute shit. When the fuck was this made, and what was it filmed on?
So this was shot on Betacam, and then cut together on VHS.
Oh no!
So it doesn't look great, and this is the remastered version as well.
Oh Christ!
I actually really liked the opening shot, like just hearing the Australian birds.
Yeah. You
know, and the countryside. Like I'm from Central Victoria, which Lake Eildon is that is. So it's like it was. You know, I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. Oh, you know, seeing the trees, the greenery, hearing the birds. Yeah.
It is very, like, oh, this is Australia. And yeah, especially for Matt and I being, like, from Victoria as well. It's kind of nice.
It's kind of nice. It's something.
So we've got a van driving down the road and kind of instantly inundated with fucking babble. That is what most of this film is, just like babbling madness.
And a great soundtrack.
Oh yeah, there's like a banging song.
So the opening song to this, I was like, what the fuck? It's all like some weird keyboard beeps and boops going off all over the place. It was great. And then, like I said, we're in a van driving down the road with this awesome music playing. I was like, I could kind of get into this, yeah.
So in the van, we've got a film crew, and they're talking about this shoot that they're going to. In the car, we've got 2 guys, 2 girls. One of the women is wearing this fucking horrific cardigan that's covered with koalas. And I was just so distracted by it. And the guy driving the car is is one of the few character names that I can give you. Honestly, I kind of just gave up trying to work out character names, so I apologize in advance for that. But the guy driving the car is Sam, played by Craig Alexander. No idea who anyone else's names are, but Sam is the singer of a band, which we're gonna find out a bit later. But they drive past a spooky hitchhiker, which is totally pointless, like many things in this film.
Oh yeah, now that you mention it, that was completely pointless.
Yeah.
Who's that spooky hitchhiker?
Well, this film is like obsessed with being like, oh, is this the killer? Like they love like putting in these really pointless and lame kind of red herrings throughout it.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that character was completely pointless, and it's not even the first time we see him multiple times, don't we?
I think like you're disorientated by the garbled dialogue in the car, in that cabin of knitwear. You know, you kind of like things happen in the film and you're not capturing it all because it's just like you're trying to work out what this Carlo, if the things that they're saying are important, you know, which they're not.
That's a good point, because I could not understand anything anyone was saying. And I don't know if it was down to the quality of this movie or it's just because it was so Australian. But I was like, I don't think I can deal with Australians in vast numbers. I have to limit myself to like 2 at a time, or else it just goes over my head. It's the same with when we did the Bucks Party, sorry. I had no idea what anyone was saying.
I think it's a combination of things with this film, and it's not down to it just being Australian, because even the subtitles on the Blu-ray, like when I was talking to Ben about the Blu-ray, I'm like, oh man, amazing job on the Blu-ray. And he's like, yeah, just don't pay too much attention to the subtitles.
Okay.
So the subtitles will often just be like inaudible.
I don't think it's like, it feels improvised, like badly improvised. I don't know if they had a script for a lot of the scene, you know, like dialogue script.
Yeah, according to the actors and the extras, it's a bit of both, but it sounds like they did mostly follow the script. But there is one actor who improvises a bit, but we'll get to that later. I think you might know who it is, Matt. Okay, so the crew's driving along. They drive past a spooky hitchhiker, but then they drive past another hitchhiker, a young babe, played by Alyssa Meadow. And I love when she gets in, her line.
Oh, gee, thanks for the lift.
It's so funny. And they're all going to a place called Lake Infinity, which, as Matt said, is a very famous lake, not called Lake Infinity in real life. Have you been to that lake before in your childhood, Matt?
Yeah, once. I've been there once. So it's called Lake Ilden. I actually stayed on a houseboat with my parents, my younger sister, and our neighbours and their son, and that was their houseboat. And so it was like the boat was really similar. It was probably in the early 90s, so not far, like 91.
It could have been the same boat.
Could have been the same boat. Yeah.
Fucking, I think it was. Let's just say it.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Wait, were you in this movie, Matt?
He's the killer.
I mean, my neighbour, the son, his name was Duncan, and he was like 16 or 17 at the time. And for some reason, he was walking around in his underwear the whole time, and it was really disturbing. We were like, my sister and I were like 11, 10, maybe, or 12, 11. He'd like steal his mum's ciggies and go, hey, Matt, you want a ciggy? And I'd be like, no, I don't. Oh, come on, it's good to try stuff. Yeah.
What, this kid in his underwear was trying to get you to smoke?
His parents hated him, right? He's like, his parents hated him. The mum had bred dogs, and she loved the dogs more than him. And there was one time where he stole their car and drove it like in the country, and he crashed the car into a fence, and he panicked. And for some reason, to kind of cover it up, he climbed a fence and found some number plates from a tractor and took the number plates of the tractor and swapped them with the car he just smashed. And, you know, it was just like he is the very definition of a gronk. So, yeah.
Duncan the Gronk.
In his mind, he was like this cool, tough teen, like trying to be cool in front of me and my sister.
What a gronk.
Matt, this is why we got you on the show, for stories like that. Alright, so we're only like 2 seconds into the film.
Sorry, everyone.
No. More stories about Duncan. We love tangents.
We love a tangent.
Duncan tangents. So they've picked up this hitchhiker, and she recognizes Sam, who's driving the car, and she's like, "Oh, you play at that disco, the Underground."
Oh, Underground. There you go.
So there you go. Our first mention of the financiers of this film.
Oh, they didn't waste any time, did they?
So yeah, she mentions that her boyfriend is camping around the lake, and the crew drops her off, and she heads off to find her boyfriend. So I mentioned there are 2 scenes directed by Ollie Martin. This is one of them. This first kind of stalk and kill scene is directed by Ollie Martin, and I personally think you can tell the difference. Like, it's a little bit more interesting the way it's shot, I would say, compared to some of the other point and shoot scenes that come later on. But yeah, so she's going through the woods. We see a guy watching her from a car, smoking a cig with some gloves on.
It's probably Duncan.
Probably Duncan. Yeah, but right before he crashed his car. So she finds her boyfriend, and his name's Gaz. She's like, "Oh, Gaz!" It's like so repulsively Australian. And yeah, but Gaz is not doing too well, is he?
Wait, is this when she finds the shittiest looking tent I've ever seen in my life?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very...
isn't it Gaz? He's camping, right? And she's like, yeah, Gaz is camping. And she goes to like this clearing in the woods, and there's supposed to be a tent, which is literally just like a blue sheet propped up on a stick or something. It's like the grimmest looking tent I've ever seen in my life.
That's how we do it in Australia, Guy. That's how we camp.
It reminded me of that tent in that Bottom episode where they camp in the woods.
Oh yeah, that's a great episode.
But yeah, as you said, Gaz is looking pretty bad.
He's got an arrow through his neck.
I thought it was a stick.
Is it a stick or an arrow? Maybe it's a stick.
Matt, you be the judge on this.
I couldn't tell if it was an arrow or not. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was.
I assumed it was an arrow, just like, because to smash a stick through someone's neck would be pretty difficult.
I watched it twice. I was like, yep, that's a stick.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
Well, write in, guys. Let us know. Make the subject stick or arrow. But yeah, he's still alive. He tells her to run, and then the killer appears. We don't see his face yet, but he's holding a big ass machete, and he pulls the stick or arrow out of the boyfriend, and then chases her through the woods. We've got some like heartbeat thumping soundtrack going in the background. And did you notice that she falls during the chase? Did you notice that fall is like quite intensely real looking? It's like a very painful looking fall. That was a real fall, and she apparently gashed her leg open.
Oh, wow.
In that fall. And they were like shooting, but it just would not stop bleeding. And because they're in the middle of like this kind of bushy area, all of these like bees and other insects were just like landing on her wound and like crawling about in the blood. And then when they added fake blood, which was like this sort of sweet kind of fake blood, she was just like covered in bugs throughout this whole scene.
That sounds awful.
Isn't that horrendous?
I found the music or the score to this scene pretty crazy. It's really jarring. It's like the sound is different depending on which character we're following. So we have the girl running, and we're cutting back and forth between her and then the killer chasing her. But the soundtrack keeps cutting back and forth. So it's a very, very jarring scene.
Yeah.
Which I quite liked. But they also, is it me or did they do the whole like Friday the 13th like kind of sound?
Oh, mate, this film, I have never seen a film so shamelessly rip off the Friday the 13th franchise. There are so many things in this that are just like Friday the 13th. Like the killer is basically Jason, essentially. and we've got like a Jason's mum kind of character, and just everything about it is so Jason.
I was going to say, in the extras of the Blu-ray, is there any mention of that? Because as you said, this is so shamelessly ripping off so much of that series.
Oh, yeah, like, they talk about that a lot. Like, Ollie Martin just wanted to make a slasher film, and he was really taking his influence from, He says, like, Halloween, but it's Friday the 13th.
I didn't get any Halloween from this. It's Friday all the way.
it's all Friday.
Yeah.
But the hitchhiker, the killer, catches up to her, stabs her to bits, and she collapses in very, very silly slow motion, flies buzzing around her. Yeah, he pulls the machete out of her. And I thought the effects in this film were really good. I think they're really, for what this film is, very good effects. And the reason is, the one person, or one of the two people who got paid, is the effects guy. So the guy that did the effects is Nick Dorning, who is a very prolific, very experienced makeup artist. He worked on Howling 3, Razorback, very talented makeup artist. And even though this is a cheap film, there are some pretty great effects in this, I think.
I agree. There's some pretty interesting kills.
Unfortunately, like, the way it's shot, like, I mean, the effects are only as good as how the director is shooting it. And because this is such a TV-looking, Neighbours-looking film, a lot of the effects don't come across that well just because of the way they're shot, I think. But technically, I think they are very good effects.
You're right. Like, you'll see the edge of the, like the special effects makeup, where if it was, on some of the wounds and stuff, whereas if it was, like, shot, framed properly, you wouldn't see that, Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And if it was lit properly, it'd probably work a lot better.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think, I mean, this is way later in the film. There are some, like I said, great special effects scenes, especially towards the end. But a lot of the kills, most of the kills, happen off screen.
A lot of them, yeah.
And we kind of just get the splash of blood on the wall, and then we cut back to, like, the actor with the prosthetic on. They're not bad. I can't say I was impressed by them.
But I do think it comes down to, they're, like, effects by a professional, but they're just not shot by someone who knows how to shoot special effects.
Right.
So then we get the opening titles, which are, oh my fucking god, probably, I would say the title card is one of the best worst titles I've ever seen.
It reminded me, I think we've made this comparison before, Dave, about when you're in school and using all, like, the different fonts on the Microsoft PowerPoint thing. It's like that.
Yeah. It's like such a pity because the shot is beautiful, of Lake Infinity and the trees, and, like, it's a really nice shot. But it's like this Comic Sans blue, red and purple, like, Comic Sans font.
And doesn't one of the letters have, like, a little, like, devil tail flick on it?
That's what I was going to say. So you got, like, Houseboat sort of comes up from the water, and at first I was like, well, that's pretty bad, but it's not quite at, like, levels of hysteria yet. But then the horror kind of slams onto the screen, and as you said, guys, got a little devil's tail.
Why is there a devil's tail? It's got nothing to do with anything.
Oh, it's
Where
so
does the
funny.
devil's tail come in?
I think more horror films should have, like, devil's tails in the titles, just so we know that it's a horror film.
Maybe Matt, if we do, like, a re-release of Cat's Egg Blues, we'll put a little devil's tail on it, and maybe go back and CGI a devil's tail onto you in the film, so people know that you're the bad guy. Just so it's clear.
Hey, why didn't you mention the financiers in both your films, like Houseboat Horror does?
Like, all the Kickstarters' names? Like, all the
Kickstarter names.
One by one throughout the film.
With the actual credits, so I wanted to ask, there is an actor...
I know who you're going to ask about.
Credits are Animal. There's a man called Animal in this movie.
Let's hold that one.
Keep the animal in his cage. All right.
Let's come back to that one, because that's a whole thing.
Okay. All right, I'll let you do
That's
you.
That's another podcast, right? Part 2.
We've got to do a special just on him. I will say, yeah, we'll come to him later, but Animal is someone... so Matt and I, our generation, everyone in our generation knows who Animal is.
Okay.
And that credit would have been pretty exciting to see back in the late 80s. But yeah, so we see Animal, that's exciting. The other name that's very exciting, which we'll come back to later, the and credit, because whenever you've got an and, it's always someone quite exciting, right? So we've got and John Michael Howson, which is, again, for Guy, you'll have no fucking idea who this guy is, but for Matt and I, that's quite an exciting name to see. I also love the song in this is just obscene as well. Just this fucked song playing over these titles. And this song, I guess it must be a song by Brian Mannix. So one of the most famous things about this film is on the poster, it has like a little tagline that says, with knockout tunes from Brian Mannix. And we'll get to who he is later as well. But yeah, fucking amazing titles. Really fantastic. All right, so then we see the crew pulling up at a service station. There's an extremely angry service station attendant who's just instantly enraged with them. Matt, did you recognize this guy?
No, I didn't.
So this is Don Bridges. So do you remember the TV show Shirl's Neighborhood?
Yes.
So he was the kangaroo on that show.
Oh, wow.
So he used to dress up as a kangaroo. He was in a kangaroo suit. He was on that for years, but he's also in Romper Stomper as well. What a career! Shirl's Neighborhood, Houseboat Horror, Romper Stomper.
Is this the service station scene?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're talking about how these city folk are coming in and ruining the town. Basically, I worked in retail for 12 years, and I know I could relate to this scene. Right. You want customers so you can keep your job, but you don't want them because they're interrupting you from not working, right? So this scene captures that duality, I thought.
So you like this one? You like this part, Matt? It spoke to you. Yeah, it's a scene full of aggression. Some of it passive, some of it not so passive. But yeah, there's one of the crew members as well as in the car reading Sir... What is that book that he's reading?
I don't know, he's talking about Nazis and stuff. I don't know what he's doing.
It's baffling.
It's the Green Knight myth.
What's that got to do with the Nazis?
There's no Nazis in that tale.
Yeah,
it's like part of part of the King Arthur tales, right? There's no Nazis didn't exist.
There's no Nazis in the King Arthur tales.
The name they sure did, but the name didn't exist. Right?
I spent a good 5 minutes trying to work out what the connection between the Green Knight and fucking Nazis were. I could not find anything. But yeah, while they're at the service station, we've got this aggressive attendant all pissed off at them. We've also got this other guy just watching them angrily. We don't know who this guy is, this sort of creepy guy watching them. And then after the crew leaves, this creepy guy comes out and talks to the angry attendant, and they're like, oh, these bloody movie people, they stuff up everything in their way.
They say that a lot. There's a lot of like movie people. They use the word movie people all the time in a really like negative manner. I wondered did the guy who wrote the script, director, they had some kind of like really ill thought towards people who make films and wanted to really just bash them throughout this script. Fucking movie people.
I think it captures like the tall poppy syndrome that we have in Australia, where you cut people down who are above you, and that's what I guess they were trying to get across in that scene. Yeah. I found the scene kind of triggering in a way because as I said, I grew up in a small country town with about 1,200 people. And I met plenty of people like these two.
But it's like that classic trope of like slasher horror at the gas station, and the guys there, warn us of the perils of things to come through some previous trauma that happened in the town. It's like, you know exactly what it is as a scene.
That's right, yeah, they're talking about movie killings from a few years back as well. Which my favorite line is where, I think it's the attendant, he's like,
they were making movies. They were film people.
And they also call music people assholes as well. They're like, oh, they're music people. They're assholes as well. They just hate everybody.
They hate everyone.
All right, so as Guy said, we've set up these guys have set the tone for what's to come. And then we cut to the two biggest stars of this film. And Guy, you know one of these people.
Oh, really?
We've talked about a show that this guy is involved with. So we cut to Alan fucking Dale, and Christine Jeston. They're driving in cars, talking on ancient mobile phones, which they refer to as walkabout phones, which I loved. Alan Dale. Wait, Guy, you know Alan Dale.
Let me cut in. I think I know where Guy knows it from. From another episode that you guys did.
Yeah.
The OC.
He was
right?
The OC.
Was he in the OC?
Was he in the OC?
Oh yeah, he is.
I can't get the guy's face in my head. Just wait. This is the guy driving in the car, right? Not the fat old man that comes later.
The fat old man
in like the bait shop. I think in the scene after.
No, not the fat old man.
No, it's the director of a music video.
Yeah, the director.
Who was he?
So they're driving in their cars, talking on the phone. So Alan Dale, imagine him bald.
I can't even imagine him with hair. I can't get his face up.
So Alan Dale is an extremely famous Australian actor.
Right.
But he was in the OC playing, what's her name from Killer Tongue? What's her name?
Melinda Clark.
Melinda Clark's husband.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
He is, extremely famous Australian actor. Back when he did this, I believe he was on Neighbours. He's in a lot of big films, a lot of big TV shows. Apparently, Alan Dale is still extremely bitter about Houseboat Horror.
Really?
And still bitter about not getting paid. So this guy has 2 mansions in Hollywood, super rich, and he still brings up this film and his irritation at not getting paid for it. And the other actress, Christine Jeston, so she is also was a pretty well-known Australian actress. She was in A Country Practice and The Young Doctors, a lot of big sort of TV stuff. So basically, Alan Dale, who I'm just going to refer to as Alan Dale, I've forgotten his character's name, and Christine Jeston. So he's the director of this music video that's being shot out in the lake, and she's like his girlfriend and an actress.
Yeah, you don't know, like, there's characters that turn up and they just disappear. You don't know what their roles are. Because their characters haven't been really introduced properly either. But Alan, this scene with the back and forth, like the on the phone calls, this would be really hard to shoot.
Yeah, it looked very fucking dangerous. But yeah, so these are, it's 2 of our main characters, and we're kind of finding out now, okay, they all of this crew, they're all going to the lake to shoot a music video for a very shitty band. And they're driving next to each other on the road. They run someone off the road.
This was my favourite scene.
Where they run the guy off the road.
Yeah, and he gets out the car.
And what does he scream?
You fucking idiots!
You fucking idiots!
And it's true, they are fucking idiots. What are they doing?
But that whole scene, I mean, yeah, you could say, they're trying to paint the characters as fucking asshole idiots, which is true. But I was like, wait, how is this scene at all relevant? They just run some guy off the road, he shouts, "You fucking idiots," and then they cut to them doing something else. I was like, right, that's it. And it's another one of these completely pointless, irrelevant scenes.
It's true, it is a bizarre way to introduce these characters.
But I did love that old man shouting, "You fucking idiots." It was pretty satisfying.
It was such an effort. He had to like pull up,
get out.
Go to Euro, get out. He takes his time, gets out, and like the car's way down the road. There's no way the car would. Maybe they could see him in their rear view, but there's no way that the cars would hear what he's yelling.
They're too busy on their walkabout phones. They don't care.
They didn't even notice running him off the road.
Yeah.
Right, now the next scene. Oh my god, I'm so fucking excited to talk about this scene. So then we cut to the crew. They're going to the shop, buying some food. They're talking about what a wild, boozy weekend they're going to have. Then we cut to inside the shop. And there's a man in there. I think you described him, Guy, as the fat old man.
Fat bald man, yeah. Fat bald man, yeah.
And this is John Michael Housen, who I think is essentially playing himself in this movie. So first of all, John Michael Housen. So he got the and John Michael Housen credit. So you know this is a big deal that he's in this. So Matt, who can you explain to Guy who in a nutshell who John Michael Housen is?
It's probably one of Australia's most, in the time, like in the 80s and 90s, one of the most popular entertainment reporters. Mm-hmm. Who was also notoriously racist as well.
Oh well.
Was he? I didn't know that.
In 2016, he was. I can't remember what station he was on, but he said something about. He was talking about like the supposed African gangs. In Melbourne, Victoria, and he said that I'm quoting this because it's a very ugly thing to say. He said that they should go back to Bongo Land.
Oh, fucking hell! I didn't know that. Oh my god,
that's a bit spicy. Isn't it? You can't say that on the radio.
Yeah, but
Jesus Christ.
I know him mostly just as this ridiculous, like as Matt said, entertainment reporter, very flamboyant, outrageous kind of guy. I think he was known as like Hollywood Housen. Was that his nickname? I think something like that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's also in a couple of films back in the 70s and 80s, just in little roles as well. But Matt, this is something very exciting for you. I have a bonus tidbit about this scene that is fucking mind-blowing. So John Michael Housen was actually not the original choice for this random role. This was supposed to be a cameo from Mark Jacko Jackson.
Whoa.
So, Guy, Mark Jacko Jackson.
Whoa, hold up.
Guy, Mark Jacko Jackson was an Australian football player, and he's one of the most ridiculous people in the world. And he basically, he was so outrageous and over the top that he kind of became this, like, entity, like where he was like making music and like he was starring in fucking stupid action movies. And Ollie Martin, the director of this, he worked with Mark Jacko Jackson on this film called Jacko Presents The Mad Daredevils Down Under, which is this crazy,
that's a hell of a title.
Crazy stunt documentary, which we'll talk about a bit later as well. What I'm going to ask everyone to do is please go onto YouTube, type in Mark Jacko Jackson, I'm an Individual, to watch the song that he created. We can maybe play it over the back of this as well, just to get an idea of what an outrageous man he is. And, oh, dude, like, I wish, as much as I love John Michael Housen being in this, like, I wish that Jacko was in this scene.
Dude, yeah, like, I guess Jacko was I don't know, like, he was equivalent of Vinnie Jones, I guess. But more of he started from Australian rules football, and he was known for like flashing his cock after he scored a goal.
Oh wow!
But Guy, he's like, if you wanted to like create the the ultimate Australian stereotype and then crank it up to 11, that's Mark Jacko Jackson.
Right? Okay.
Ridiculous, man. Absolutely fucking
So why
ridiculous.
did it end up going to the other guy then?
I guess he just couldn't do it on the day, and they had to, get John Michael Housen in instead.
Right, okay.
You could not have two more different people as well. That's what's so bizarre about it.
But it was a role always kind of written for a cameo.
Yeah, it was meant to be this kind of like fun little cameo scene. Housen basically seems to be playing himself, and he's just like dishing out like all this sort of classic Housen sort of catty lines. He says things that I don't understand. He has lines that don't make sense to me. So at one point he's like,
"No, don't worry about me, dear. I'm going to practice my fishing techniques, and I'll know what to do when I catch one."
But he says it with this sort of look that he's like, he's just said something hilarious and very cheeky. But what's the joke?
He was known for innuendo, wasn't he? Like in his media segments, and there's none of that in that line.
But he's saying it as if it's like sexual innuendo, right? Fucking bizarre. Anyway, Howson's like chatting to the crew and he pulls out a knife. So they're like kind of setting up that maybe John Michael fucking Howson is the killer. Like another red herring. And it's just like, what is this? Like, what is this shit?
Yeah, I didn't take away anything from his scene. It was just a rambling old man who I couldn't understand.
Without knowing that was a cameo, that must have been baffling. It's like, why are we seeing this?
Yeah, it's just another scene that was pointless and I didn't understand. Didn't know who he was. I didn't know the relevance of the scene. It's just...
Oh, mate, I also didn't know what he was talking about. So don't worry. It's not an Australian thing.
I think you're right there, Guy. This is a film that is culturally biased.
Yeah.
You need to have context to enjoy some of the aspects, like the cameo John Michael Housen and you know, like seeing like, oh wow, Jim Robertson from Neighbours, he's in this weird slasher movie. You know, that's Allendale. Of course, Neighbours was big in the UK and other countries, but you know, you do need the cultural context.
I think, yeah, that's what I was kind of saying at the beginning. I can totally see, as an Australian would love this just because it is so Australian. And like you said, you got so much Australian lingo in there, so many Australian names and faces that it is just so fun for an Australian to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, me not being Australian, not knowing Australian personalities, I was just like, yeah, don't know who this is, don't know what he's saying. On to the next thing. Let's keep going, guys.
I guess it'd be like if you could imagine seeing like the EastEnders cast in a slasher film. Like that's the level of
I would love to see
madness that this film is at.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
So we're finally heading to the lake, and Alan Dale's on the houseboat with his girlfriend, and the crew comes out to meet Alan Dale. There are so many fucking crew members. I'm not going to bother to go into any detail about any of them. None of them matter. One has a fucking terrible mullet. That's all we need to know. But there is one person we need to talk about. So there's a guy standing up, kind of up on like the roof of one of the houseboats, and he's kind of separate from everyone, just watching everyone. And he's giving this weird commentary. And this is a character called Costello, but he is played by probably, I guess, the third most famous person in this. This is Gavin Wood. So, Matt, I'm sure you know who Gavin Wood is, right?
Yeah, of course. He was like a famous Australian announcer. He did voiceover, did radio. He was on like a long-running music show, Countdown. He was the announcer for Countdown, which was, I guess, Countdown is like Australians' version of Top of the Pops.
There's even a biopic about Molly Meldrum, who is the host of Countdown, and someone's playing Gavin Wood in that biopic. So he's well known enough to be in a biopic as a character. Yeah, he was a very famous DJ, and then he became an announcer. And after Countdown, he joined Channel 10 in Australia. And that's where he met Ollie Martin, the director of this, on the show Nightlife that I mentioned before. So he was cast in Houseboat Horror by Ollie Martin from knowing each other working on this show. But you might think like he was appearing in this as like a favor to Ollie Martin, but he really is like one of the biggest supporters of this film. And he was saying in like interviews that he was really involved in raising the money for this film. So He's pretty involved. It's not just like him doing a favor. He was invested in this film. But yeah, so he's watching the crew come in and he's commenting on them, and he says some of the fucking things that he says. At one point, he's talking about the director, Alan Dale, his name is Grant Evans, and he says the line,
Grant Evans, wanking as usual, look at him.
Oh, yeah. I made a note about that. He's with his binoculars watching all the people, isn't he? What's that? Wanking as usual? What does that mean?
Yes, yeah.
No one's wanking.
Yeah.
It's just like providing audio commentary for the movie live. Have you guys ever considered doing audio commentary for your podcast?
Oh, Guy, wanking as usual. Oh, man. So Gavin Wood doing this running commentary. The band then comes on to the boat, and Gavin Wood, he starts saying like, oh, I saw you guys at the Underground, yet again mentioning the Underground, saying how great they are. He offers to be their manager, but then their real manager walks out, Bernie, the manager of the band, played by Steve Whitaker, and he's just like really pissed off. This is a very angry character, the manager of the band. He's constantly angry throughout this. And he tells Gavin Wood to fuck off. We meet this old man called Harold, who's the guy who has all the houseboats. And he's like, we've got all these scenes of him explaining the houseboats. He like kind of lays out a kind of houseboat hierarchy. He's like, the executive boat, Alan Dale's going to be in that boat, and then this boat, or the crew will be in this one. So he's just sort of explaining the boats to all of them. Yeah, the crew are all sort of fucking about on the boats. Just, again, this wall of chaotic dialogue. But we do meet Animal in this scene.
Oh, yes. Who is Animal?
So the other members of the band, we've got Sam, the guy who's driving the car before, a guy that kind of looks like Brian May, who I didn't catch his character's name, and then Animal. So Animal's the the really extra crazy character guy. He's kind of got longer hair.
Is he play drums? Is he the drummer?
Yeah, he's the drummer.
In the band?
Yeah. And he's got sunglasses on. This is Animal.
Right.
So Matt, who is Animal?
Most of Australia would know Animal from being a drummer in a house band of a long-running TV show called Hey Hey It's Saturday, which was hosted by sort of like a real-life Alan Partridge. And it went for like 28 years.
Wow.
And it was notorious for like sexism, homophobia, racism. Like the clips you can find online are insane. And it makes me so mad, but I watched so many episodes when I was a kid.
They brought it back, Guy, like in, what was like 2010, maybe? Something like that. So they tried to bring this old show back, Hey Hey It's Saturday. And it had like a couple of episodes and then instantly got removed from TV.
Oh, really?
Because they did a blackface segment.
Oh, can't do that anymore.
This was in the 2000s they were doing this, Guy. And they had Harry Connick Jr. was like this like guest like judge on it watching this blackface scene. And he's just like, what are you fucking guys doing? What are you doing? You can't do blackface. Like, he's just baffled that this was a thing.
Oh, brilliant.
So yeah, Animal was the drummer on the show, and he famously didn't speak. He was like a silent drummer.
Right.
He fucking speaks a lot in this fucking film, though. I kind of wish he didn't, though. So
you do, like, when he turns up, you're just like, you can't wait till he dies, right?
Yeah, and he doesn't die. You don't see him die. Of all the people we wanted to see Animal get slashed, and he doesn't.
He's very full on, isn't he?
Oh god. But according to the actors, this shoot was really out of control. And everyone was like fucking wasted and just on drugs and completely nuts. And apparently a large amount of the chaos was due to Animal's presence. So he was just apparently just walking into scenes that he wasn't supposed to be in. So that's why he's often in the background with like a bucket on his head or just doing some chaos in the background.
That's mad.
Apparently on the shoot, he was like obsessed with yoga, and he would be like standing on his head for hours, just like on his head for just doing yoga in the background.
Fuck.
Absolute maniac.
Has he been in other movies?
Not that I know of. I've only ever seen him in this and
from that TV show, and then appearing in this and playing a fucking nuthead.
Yeah, he passed away, I think. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know about that. But...
I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like he died a few years back. Anyway, that's Animal.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up for me, because I was curious.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that in the titles as well, it's like Animal. In quotations as well. Animal. Yeah. How baffling as a non-Australian to see. Like, everyone Australian seeing that would be like, oh, Animal's in this.
Yeah.
And he speaks. For a guy, it's just like, what the fuck's that?
Yeah.
Who's this?
No idea. No idea. But I'm glad you were here to explain it to me.
No worries. So then, after meeting Animal and the rest of the crew, we suddenly cut to the mulleted crew member.
Is he the one who's, like, cutting up trees and shit?
Yeah. He's fucking cutting a tree down.
What a dick.
I know. What an absolute fuckhead this guy is.
You never practiced making firewood before? I did it all the
That's
time.
what he's doing. He's practicing making firewood.
Practicing cutting up wood.
Yeah, so that the creepy guy from the service station, who we still don't know what his role in this is. He has not been introduced. He's a ranger.
Right, yeah.
But we don't know this yet. He's just some prick. And he just comes up, he's like, stop cutting down that tree, mate.
Yeah, he says, like, you're only here for a few days, you think you can hack the place up? But it's like, it's another one of those, like, completely pointless scenes along with a completely pointless conversation that ultimately leads nowhere and provides no purpose or story to the rest of the movie.
Yeah, you're right. There's no purpose at all. That's it. There's nothing set up. There's not even really a red herring in that scene. That's it.
Yeah.
So then we're back to the crew just fucking about on the boat, rambling. Two of the female crew members are like wandering around, and there's a shot here that is kind of interesting that you probably didn't notice, but there's a shot of a door kind of opening, and it spooks them, it kind of scares them. And if you watch that shot, if you go back and watch it, it looks very out of place. It looks like it was shot at a completely different time, different lighting. And there's a reason for that. And this is maybe the most interesting thing about Houseboat Horror. So I want to talk about the involvement of someone that Matt will definitely know. So Clayton Jacobson was the editor and second unit director on this film. Matt, you know who that is, right?
Yeah, like he's a famous in Australia filmmaker. He's a filmmaker, so he directed probably his most famous film is Kenny, which was like a mockumentary and starred his brother Shane Jacobson as a guy who delivered portaloos to like music festivals and racing events and stuff like that. And it's a pretty good film.
And it was huge in Australia. Like it was a big hit film. So yeah, the guy that was the second unit director on Houseboat Horror made one of the biggest Australian films ever made. And yeah, he basically essentially got tricked into working on this film by Ollie Martin. So he was a Swinburne Film School graduate, and that's where he met Ollie Martin. And he said basically Ollie Martin, because he was this sort of showman kind of guy, he made it sound like it was like, oh yeah, you've got to work on this film. It's going to be huge. Like, I'm going places. And he said he even went to like Ollie Martin's office where he had a poster made. I can't remember. I think it said like Blood Ice or something was the name of this movie. And it said directed by Clayton Jacobson on this poster. And he's like, what the fuck's this? And Ollie Martin's like, oh, that's the film you're going to direct for me. So he had big plans for Clayton that ultimately went nowhere. But Clayton edited this film as well. But when he received the footage of the film, everything that he received essentially was shot in wide shots, and there were no cutaways. There was nothing.
Oh, wow.
So he couldn't cut it together. So he had to work out like these pickup shots that he had to do. And he planned out 52 pickup shots, went back, shot all of these like extra shots. So every time you see a shot where it's like a hand coming into frame or like a cutaway of a door opening, that's like Clayton Jacobson's hand.
Oh.
And like all the POV stuff, like all of that is him. And he just had this sort of glove on with like the burnt killer's hand for all those shots.
Oh, wow. So he pretty much saved this movie then.
Yeah, I reckon.
Like from watching all the extras, he is truly the guy that made this a functioning film, essentially. Like, it's not a good film, but he made it releasable, basically.
Sure.
Also, in this scene, we see a stereo getting turned on, and we hear a very shitty song. I feel bad for saying this. But the song is by Brian Mannix, who is the second person that actually got paid for this film. So he composed all the incidental music in this and the songs. Matt, are you a fan of Brian Mannix?
I'm sorry, Australia. I couldn't name a song that he's done. I know that he was in the Uncanny X-Men, not the comic book, the band that had some hit songs in the early 80s in Australia. I don't know if they travelled out.
Yeah, I've got no idea if they went beyond Australia. But yeah, so he got involved. Again, Ollie Martin got him involved in this. He was actually supposed to act in the film, but then he read the script and was like, fuck this. And he was still involved, but he was so embarrassed by this involvement that he kind of started to distance himself from it. So the songs that he wrote in it, he didn't sing the songs himself. He got someone else to do the vocals because he was trying to push further and further away from it. But then when the film came out, on the poster, they put knockout hits by Brian Mannix. And when he saw this, he's like, what the fuck is this? You haven't even paid me and you're using my name to sell this. So that's why he ended up getting paid. Because he's like, you either take that off the poster or you pay me.
Did he do the song in this movie?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So that is quite a well-known Australian pop star doing that song.
Right. I mean, because this song... Actually, even the characters say in the movie, the song is dog shit.
Yeah. I love that they insult the film, insult the song that he's written for this. It's hilarious.
He says, like, yeah, but guys, the song is a piece of shit. Like, even the band members say... Oh, so you had, like, Australian royalty making this song.
Yeah, I wouldn't say quite royalty.
Okay. But big name.
Yeah.
He's no Kylie.
Yeah, he's no Kylie
He's no
Minogue.
Kylie, okay.
He's
John Farnham.
Yeah.
Not even a John Farnham or a... Yeah.
He's basically Nick Cave.
Whoa. No.
Oh.
Imagine if Nick Cave did the songs for this. I mean, he has done the songs for a lot of film.
He does, yeah.
He has done. He has, yeah.
Did I ever tell you about the time when I used to work at the zoo?
Wait, I didn't know you worked at a zoo.
Nope.
Oh, this is a good story. I worked at the zoo. Me and my housemate both worked at the zoo, and we had this very stupid job where, you know, there's like blue screen photo booth kind of things. Like, so this is like 2008 or something like that. When people would come in, they could get a photo in front of a blue screen, and me and my friend would like put in like an animal in the background. So that all these like different positions you could be in. One of them you'd like sit on a log, and then we'd like put in like koalas, and it'd be like you'd be holding onto a koala.
Oh, brilliant.
And one day I wasn't working, but my housemate was there, and he's like, oh, he was a New Zealander, my housemate, and he was like, oh, this guy came in. I think he was he seemed like pretty famous, like he was dressed up, and everyone seemed to be looking at him like he was some kind of famous guy. And I'm like, oh, really? Okay. Then the next day we went to work and he showed me the photo. And I'm like, mate, it's fucking Nick Cave. You took a photo of Nick Cave holding onto a digital koala. But he had no idea it was Nick Cave. Oh, man.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, I want to see that picture. He lives in Brighton, where I'm from, so I see him walking around all the time.
Didn't know that.
He's always there. My mate got called out on a computer fix job to his house once, and Nick Cave came out and gave him like tea and biscuits whilst he was working on his computer. Apparently, he's like the nicest dude.
That's nice. That's good to know.
But whenever I see him walking around, I'm just like, nah, I'm not gonna say anything. He's probably a moody fella. There in his black suit, looking very gaunt.
I wish he did the music in this film.
That it would be a very different film, wouldn't it?
I'd like it if it was the same lyrics of the song, but Nick Cave doing it. So it's still like, what is it? I'm young and I'm cool and I'm sexy or whatever.
Young, groovy and cool.
I thought it was... Is it I'm? I thought it was she. I thought it was about a girl that's like, she's young and she's cool.
Yeah.
Is it I'm?
I feel like at one point it also says I'm. But you're probably right, Guy. That would be insane if it's like
they're all young and cool and
groovy.
groovy.
Because the lyrics are like the lyrics talk about a girl,
right?
You know, and going to bed with a girl.
Yeah, and she's young.
Yeah,
she's groovy.
Groovy.
What was the other one?
Cool.
All right, so let's get back into the film. So we're back to the crew, and this scene is so fucking funny. We've basically got Harold the boatman and the ranger, who we finally find out that he's the ranger in the scene, and they're telling the crew the kind of the boat regulations and like the speedboat, how they use that and all that stuff, and it's not relevant to anything, but the way that the crew is behaving in this scene is fucking madness. Like, these are all guys in their 30s and 40s, and they're like burping and like just behaving like literal children in this scene, and it genuinely kind of stressed me out, like, watching this. I'm like, if I was this houseboat man and this ranger, I'd be like, fuck this, get out of here. Get out of our lake. Fuck you guys.
You're talking about the shot where there's 10 people on the dock.
Yeah, jammed onto this dock.
And it's like probably one of the most awkward shots of the film.
Yeah.
There's like a rack of wetsuits in front of like the group of people. So it's like, and then at one point, like, half a wetsuit like just like drops off and no one says anything. It just drops to the ground. But it's so awkward. Like faces are obscured by things and like, you know, like this is like the very definition of this movie. Like this scene. If you were showing a scene to someone, it would be like, this is like 80 minutes. This is what this movie is.
Yeah.
It's a great representation of the entire film, which is just shit happening for no reason.
And just, as you say, Matt, like, the awkwardness of how this is set up. Like, if I was still teaching, like, film school, I would show this to be like, this is how not to block a scene. It looks like when you're shooting a film, there's times where it's like, all right, where are we going to put everyone? This looks like the first draft. Where you're like, it doesn't quite work. This is blocking this. We can't see this guy's face. But they just couldn't be fucked putting any effort into it. And then we're into, like, again, like, animal. There's just a shot of animal rambling about the theory of relativity.
I wrote down some of the dialogue. I couldn't get it all. It was like, you're working, you know, those guys are so monophasic. What does he say there?
I don't know.
And then he's like, if Plato was there, he would have said exactly what I did. The theory of relativity, the theory of forms, the continuum concept. And then he's like, Aldous Huxley is the Partridge Family. Like, it's absolute nonsense.
Fucking garbage. Why did they should have cut that out.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one who didn't understand what was going on.
Absolute fucking nonsense. So, anyway, the ranger again gives us some more, like, warnings about, people died here before and all that sort of stuff.
And they were film
people. Oh, they were movie people. Mm-hmm. They were film people. Mm-hmm. We should play that clip of that guy saying that throughout this.
They were making movies. They were film people.
Of course, no one listens to this. And then that very, very shitty Dum 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 Brian Mannix knockout tune starts playing. The houseboats drive off into the lake. And the ranger's watching. And he's kind of... I love, after he's been so angry, he's like almost looking a bit happy as they go off on their boats. Did not understand that look that he gives there. But then, out of fucking nowhere, as the ranger's watching the houseboats go off, boom, he gets fucking bonked in the head with an axe.
No.
And he's dead.
That's him, he's done.
He wasn't a film person, though.
He wasn't, was he? He was one of the locals, wasn't he?
Why did he get bonked?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
A lot of things in this film don't make any sense.
No, you say it. I thought it was only the film people that get bonked, but apparently the locals are also up for bonking.
Yep. Then we get to the most famous thing from this film, which probably had no meaning for you, Guy. This line that is the most famous thing about this film, thanks to Tony Martin's bit on The Late Show. But the boats are driving around. Gavin Wood is again up in that sort of spot looking over everyone. And he says the most famous line from this film.
Hey guys, girls, it's party time. Come up here. It's view's magnificent. You'll bar up.
Wait, that's the most famous? Your bar up.
Do you know what that means? Your bar up?
No. What does that mean? That's the most famous line. Your bar up.
Just trying to get everyone to come up. The view's magnificent. You'll bar up. What do you think it means? Okay. What do you think that could mean?
Oh, you're as in you are bar up.
You'll bar up.
Oh, you'll bar up.
Yeah.
You will bar
you will
up.
bar up.
You think, like erection.
Is that it? Bar up?
Yes.
Is that what that means?
Don't you get hard from the view? I mean, that's basically what he's asking people to come up and look at the view. It's so beautiful. You're gonna get a big hard willy.
Big hard willy from the view. Interesting.
So this was...
And that's the most famous line. Wait, who's the guy who says this? Is he like a famous guy?
This is Gavin Wood, the radio countdown guy that we talked about before. So
Right, okay.
He's basically, apparently the direction for this scene, the director was like, yeah, just get up there and talk about how good the view is. And he improvised this line, the view's magnificent, you'll bar up. Oh, God, it's so fucking stupid. I love it. It's great.
I feel like you got to be an Australian to appreciate it.
Oh, God.
It is, no, it's confusing. You're confused, Guy, because it's like, it doesn't make sense. It's not like a view of a lake would elicit that response, right? So you're not connecting the two to barring up and, the view. That's why it's not making sense, right? And that doesn't,
Yeah. Yes. Brilliantly explained. Thank you. Yeah. I didn't get it. But I stopped trying.
It just became garbled nonsense after a while.
It started as garbled nonsense. I didn't understand anything. So I stopped looking for meaning amongst the silly burps and conversation and terrible music. And
I think that's the right way to watch this.
It's just the whole thing is an experience. You just got to take it for what it is and go along for the ride.
Oh man! So the crew are making their way to a location. They're all on their houseboats. The lady with the koala cardigan is suddenly making out with the singer from the band and implies that they're going to fuck tonight.
Woohoo.
We also see a creepy shot of the woods from the houseboat. And again, it's just like so Friday the 13th, like all of these shots. It's clearly like that's the main influence for this film. But it is a pretty cool location as well, like shooting at this lake. It'd be nice to see a good film shot around Lake Ilsen.
I agree. And I think, like, as much as I enjoy the quality or lack of this film, I think there is, obviously because it's been done before, it's like Friday the 13th, but there is a good film in this concept.
Yeah.
Like just that simple concept of like a film crew going to a lake to film a video clip and then getting hunted down from some vengeful killer. It's like such a simple horror setup, but it's like there is a good version of that.
They talk about that as well, like having Ollie Martin leave the production. They say it probably would have been a better film if he directed all of it, but it wouldn't be we wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah, that's true.
It wouldn't be the houseboat horror we have grown to know and love.
So the boats pull up into the area they're going to shoot in. The crew, like the film crew, they're just fucking crazy. They're just acting like fucking toddlers. Animals like shouting about fucking pirates.
Pirates! Maybe they got some opium.
This film really made me hate Animal a lot.
Did you like him before this?
Me too.
I have like a childhood nostalgia connected to him,
Sure.
I guess. But
I guess if you watched it as a kid, like when you're like, I don't know, 8 years old and you saw Animal on screen, you'd be like, oh, this might be fun, right? Seeing this, this whack job on screen. But yeah, no. Is the short answer to that guy.
Yes, no.
So then it's nighttime. The band is practicing. She's young and she's cool and she's groovy. And as you said, Guy, they're like, this song's a bag of shit.
Yeah.
Two of the female crew members are playing a board game, and that mulleted-headed dickhead, he throws a cat that he's found somewhere, throws a cat on the table.
I was going to ask about the cat, actually, because there's all of a sudden there's a cat that kind of comes
sticks around
back and forth, and we have a couple of scenes involving the cat, but as we've said about many of the scenes, are completely pointless.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, is there any stories about, like, behind-the-scenes stories about the cat? Was he just one of the crew members' cat that they brought along?
I'm sorry, I've got no info on that cat. I'm sorry.
It does feel like that. It's like, fuck yeah, I'm going to be in this movie. Fuck, I don't have anyone to feed my cat. I'll bring him along. And then the director's like, yeah, let's put him in a scene. Like, that's how it feels.
Yeah, you're right. Like, it is, there's no real point of having that cat. Maybe it was just there, and they're like, oh, fuck it, we'll put it in.
He's not getting paid either.
Yeah.
Add him to the list.
I got to admit that like the only reason that I agreed to appear on this episode, I wanted to find out more about the cat.
Are you gonna sign out of Skype now?
Yeah, I'm going to sign out.
He's heard what he came for.
Matt's just silent after this. He's still there, but he's watching.
I'm refusing to talk. I'm just going to sit here and listen.
Oh, man. But yeah, there's a lot of crap on the boat at this point. We've got some POV killer shots. We've got the mullet guy all stoned and wasted. Oh, one of the worst things in this film, so, like, the nudity in this is, like, it's really grim. It's fucking grim. It's even more grim. Do you remember the bathtub in Mad Fox's guy? I feel like it's grimmer than that. It's just very like
so unflattering.
Yes, so unflattering, and so just like matter of fact. Like, here's a naked woman showering, so gratuitous, like devoid of any kind of sexiness at all, and no disrespect to the actress. It's just like. It's not her, it's just the way it's like shot in this sort of stark, horrible shot.
And this is like in the middle of multiple fake out scenes, right?
Yeah,
it's like the killer's coming. Oh no, it's another crew member.
Yeah.
Like on repeat, mixed in with very unflattering, gratuitous boobs.
Yeah, like when she's showering, like as you say, that fake out scare where a crew member just rips the shower curtain open. Like another female member, and is like, "Oh, can you leave the water on? Because I need a shower." And it's like, "Fuck you!" If one of you guys did that to me when I was mid shower, I'd be pissed off. Don't want you guys looking at my willy.
Just like sneak up. Hi, Dave. Leave the water on, will you?
I guess the point is, like, well, you know, going off your point, is that no one looks good in this film.
No.
When someone's naked on the screen, it's just like, like they're not going to look good. You know, they've got to be shot really badly. It's like home video kind of stuff.
It really is. But yeah, so everyone goes to sleep. We see a burnt hand operating. I don't know what you call that kind of boat that the killer drives around, but I don't know, some kind of small boat.
This is when we get the kind of backstory, right? We learn about the killer.
Yeah, we go to like his workshop, which is actually shot in Clayton Jacobson's garage, by the way.
Brilliant. It was one of his pickups.
Yeah. This is all pickups, this stuff. So he's, sharpening his machete. It pans over to a newspaper. And the newspaper's burnt as well, which is very funny. And it's...
yeah, why would the newspaper be burnt? I didn't even notice that, yeah.
Oh, that's really funny. Like, because... It's about him being burnt, right?
Yeah.
It's about the killer being burnt. And so they've had to burn the paper after.
Oh, it's really funny.
What it says, like, child burnt on set of, like, filming or something.
Yeah, it's like 4 die film crew found guilty, child burnt on set. It's very Jason Voorhees. Yeah. It's just another version of that. And then he angrily slams his fucking machete into the newspaper.
The burnt paper.
He's had that newspaper for ages, but guess he doesn't want it anymore.
So he was involved in 2 fires then.
Yeah, I guess so. Or 3 by the end of this film.
Jesus.
So then we cut to the next morning, get some very Australian dialogue. I'm guessing, Guy, when you wake someone up in the UK, I'm guessing that you don't say wakey wakey, hands off snakey, socks off cocks. Is that Australian?
Wakey wakey, hands off snakey.
Yeah. I don't think I've said that one before, Dave. Funnily enough, I will try to find the appropriate time to use it though.
I've heard that many times.
Is it because you've always got a sock on your cock?
And that's just the standard way to wake someone up if you're in a camp or something.
Yeah, or if, like, you fall asleep in class, like the teacher might say it.
The teacher will say, hands off snakey, socks off cock.
Wakey wakey, hands off snakey.
You never got that, Dave?
Oh, yeah.
I remember being in automotive class and the teacher saying it to a friend. Wakey wakey! Hands off, snakey!
I can't tell if you're joking or not now, Matt.
Yeah.
I'm not joking.
Seriously? Fucking hell. That would get classed as, like, filed as a sexual harassment thing now.
As it should be.
That's insane.
So yeah, mullet guy's shouting out those kind of lines. He's clanging a pot, waking everyone up. And yeah, the makeup crew is getting everybody ready. They're getting ready for the shoot. Gavin Wood, the guy who's been commenting on everything. There's an amazing moment where he's like following the crew, And Alan Dale's like, hang on, mate, why are you here?
Oh, yeah.
He says, I don't know what you're doing here. And it's like, this is exactly what the audience is thinking about Gavin Woods.
Why is he here? It's a very good question. And his answer of why he's here, he says, I'm here to vibe the clip.
Vibe the clip.
I don't know what that means either. I think, like a cheerleader? Is he kind of, like, why?
He's there for moral support, is that him?
I guess so. But anyway, yeah, they're doing the filming, and Alan Dale's direction is so funny.
I loved this when they start filming, and he's like, right, remember, you're all young and horny.
Lots of smiles.
Yeah. And then, did you get the guy doing the clapperboard, what he says? He's like, right, young and groovy, shot 1, take 1,000.
So wait, have we skipped the first 999 takes?
We've only just started. They've already done 999 shots.
So, the clapperboard guy, you might have noticed that he has not been in the film. He's only in these 2 shots that he's in. And he is Ray Bosley.
Oh, wow.
So, that's the director of Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em. Quite a well-known director. So, yeah, I guess he helped out Clayton Jacobson with some pickup shots.
So he did a Hitchcock.
Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, then the clip, we see the filming of the clip, and it's fucking ridiculous.
I mean, it's bad. It's really bad. And the miming, the syncing of the music is just awful. And there's like the animal playing drums. Yeah. He's not even hitting the drums. He's hitting the fucking music score sheet, and it's making like a snare sound.
Yeah, like he's not in time or anything. He's just like thumping about like a dildo in a tumble dryer, basically.
But I did love how wholesome this music video was. There's like shots of them like eating sandwiches and drinking tea, but then it will cut to fucking animal fisting his drum,
his bongo drum,
like in some weird like sexual action, and the guy water skiing in a suit.
Yeah, what is going on?
Like it's just madness, and with the most ridiculous lyrics. As we said, she's young and she's cool and she's groovy. And they're all sitting around eating sandwiches. It is what the fuck am I watching? Who ever thought this was a good idea for a music video?
There's no way that the music video would look good.
It's going to be the worst video.
I was hoping that it would be a special feature on the Blu-ray release, but
the finished video.
Music video extended cut. I feel like they really didn't utilize the houseboat for the music video.
No, yeah, they really didn't need it.
No,
they had like jet skis in it, right? The jet ski
stuff. Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah,
the man in the suit jet skiing.
The footage that Alan Dale's going to get is not going to be very good because if you notice in the montage, he doesn't move from that shot. He's like in the same spot the whole time. So I kind of imagined him like zooming in like really wide to get all the shots. And like when they wrap it up, they're just like, oh yep, that's a wrap. And we've all made films before, guys, and I've got to say, this is the most unrealistic vision of filmmaking I've ever seen. Because everyone's just like, oh, yep, all done. That was easy. That's not what fucking filming something is like.
But you'd think, like, they'd know how to film that, because they're actually making a film, right?
Yeah. No, they blow it big time.
I was not convinced.
I love that they were using better cameras to film the music video than the movie is shot on. They're like shooting the video on film. So then after shooting, they're all chilling out and we get the second most famous line of the film. So one of the female crew members comes out of the houseboat and suddenly, like, she's going to feed the cat and suddenly looks up and there's blood all like next to the door of the houseboat and she screams. Gavin Wood comes running out, puts his arm around her and says,
"Shit! What sort of asshole would do that?"
Oh god.
It's such a unrealistic reaction.
Yeah.
It's like there's blood dripping down your front door. And it's like, what kind of asshole would do that? It's like there's no kind of shock or surprise in there.
It's very funny. Then it's nighttime again. We've got the band playing around the campfire. It's just horrible. Like the way that they hang out together is just like you would not want to be part of that campfire, would you?
No, definitely not. I would leave very quickly.
So while they're all hanging out around the campfire, two of the crew. So we've got mullet head guy and the guy that was reading The Green Knight before. They're on the hunt for mushrooms.
Oh god, yeah.
They're like looking for some mushrooms to get high. But the guy that was reading the book also was like, oh, don't worry if we can't find mushrooms. I've also got this, and pulls out a fucking syringe.
That's right.
That's pretty dark.
Yeah, he's there for a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the exchange where one of them's like, you hear something? And the other goes, yeah, the mushy's growing. But mullet guy, he's not into this. He leaves. He's like, I'm sick of looking for mushrooms. And the book reading guy goes over and he finds a few maybe toadstools. We don't know if they're mushrooms or toadstools. And the killer comes up behind him and slits his throat. Properly good throat slit. And because it's a darker kind of scene, it actually works quite well.
It's a good effect.
Yeah, it looks good. And the mullet guy is heading back to the boat, but then the killer starts chasing after him and like kind of horrifically stabs him in the...
He gets the machete like through the back, which protrudes through the front of his chest.
Yeah, he goes like, machete through the back and then stabs him in the face with the syringe as well.
Yeah, it's fucking grim.
He really cops at that guy.
Yeah.
Back to the crew, all around the campfire, having a good old time. And there we meet a character, I think her name was Zelia. She's essentially the Jason's mum of the film.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she's the killer's sister. We don't really know that yet, but she's supposed to be the killer's sister. This is Louise Silverson, who's a pretty well-known actress. But I'm going to tell you something that's going to blow your fucking minds. So She was a last-minute replacement. She filled in 24 hours before shooting. She basically just like rushed to the lake to fill in for another actress. The other actress that she was filling in for was the casting director for this film, and she's definitely not involved in the Blu-ray for this. So the person who was supposed to play this role, who also did the casting, is Deborah Lee Finesse. You know who that is, right, Matt?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to tell me.
Hugh Jackman's wife.
What?
Yeah.
So Hugh Jackman's wife was quite heavily involved in the casting of this film and would go to these acting workshops to like cast all the actors in this.
That's nuts.
And she was supposed to be in it. Isn't that fucking mad?
That is mad. Why did she not be in it in the end?
I mean, I'm not sure why she pulled out, but she's definitely very ashamed about her involvement in it now.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I would be, but that's pretty great.
She was also apparently dating, you know, the guy that kind of looks like Brian May that's not Animal in the band? She was dating that guy at the time.
Wow.
This is a little grim little tidbit there. Yeah, definitely traded up with Hugh Jackman. So yeah, this Zelia woman, she's like Jason's mum of the film, where she's quite a young actress, like maybe in her 20s or 30s, but she's playing like a really old lady. She's like dressed up to look old. And she's talking about how she used to act years ago and there was a terrible fire and cast were killed and people were badly burnt.
I don't mind her. I think she gets the tone.
Oh, yeah.
I think she gets the tone of a movie where a lot of the other cast don't... I mean, they're not great actors. I mean, Alan Dale's a good actor. Maybe not in this, but he is a good actor. And he has his moments in this, but she gets the tone of the film that they're making.
Yeah.
More so than anyone else.
Yeah. I think she's the most entertaining person in this, definitely. Way better than Animal.
Yes.
After she heads off, everyone goes to bed. We get a POV shot of the killer. Again, this is all pickup shots. He looks into the fire in the POV. We get a a flashback to someone on fire, which is footage that gets reused at the end of the film as well, which is pretty funny. And he goes onto the houseboat and disconnects the radio. Then we've got the next day, we've got Alan Dale calling up the boatman on the walkabout phone, I guess. Yeah, he's talking about crew members going missing and one of the boats being missing. We also see Animal outside, and he's smoking a joint, although he refers to it as a mushroom, which is very confusing. And he's watching a random woman skinny dipping.
Yeah.
Not a character we've seen in the film. Apparently, the actress that was supposed to do it didn't want to do the scene, so Animal went into town, got a stripper, and brought her back to be in this scene.
Oh, wow. And again, filmed very grimly.
It's
really rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, really rough. Rough as guts.
Rough as guts.
Did you see the mushrooms near Animal?
No.
Did you see? Like, just like these cartoon sort of looking plastic mushrooms that were like just like set up near where he was sitting down.
Wait, so was he supposed to be fucking smoking mushrooms? Who does that?
Yeah, like there was like 3, maybe 4 mushrooms, and they're like these plastic-looking mushrooms that, you know, the most cliched mushroom you can think of. So like a red top with white spots.
Didn't notice that.
I did not notice, and they were just dotted around him.
Yeah, just near his legs.
No,
Jesus Christ!
Didn't pick up on that.
Oh my God!
I've got to stop smoking these mushrooms, man.
So 2 crew members have gone missing. Everyone's aware of this now. So the manager, Bernie, and one of the makeup artists decide to go off to look for these crew members. Remember I said there were like 2 scenes directed by Ollie Martin? This is the other scene directed by him. This scene in the barn where they are looking for crew members. Yeah.
I love it. So they find a barn, and what did he say? He's like, wow, what a great location for a gig. Mate, you're in the middle of fucking nowhere. Who's going to come to a gig in a barn?
Yeah, that's a good point. What the fuck?
I thought this sequence wasn't bad. Like, it looked good. There's not a lot of dialogue.
Yeah, that's the I think you're right though, Matt. Like, so the 2 scenes directed by Ollie Martin, in terms of like just being slasher, like decent slasher scenes, they're the best 2 scenes. They're not like amazing or anything, but they are better than the rest of the film. Yeah,
serviceable.
Yeah, serviceable is the best way to put it. Yeah. So this probably could have been a serviceable slasher film, essentially. Yeah, the scene's very, very Friday the 13th, part 3. We've got like basically just them looking around this barn. They're being stalked by the killer, and Bernie kind of climbs up on an upper level of the barn. He gets macheted, blood splatters. We don't see the actual murder. And then as the woman's walking around, blood drips on her from above. She sees Bernie all dead and gone.
All dead.
Bernie's done. And then the killer bafflingly grabs a horseshoe and fucking kills her, stabs her in the eye with, I guess, like, I didn't really understand the physics of how he killed her here, but he kills her with a horseshoe.
Yeah, I thought he was kind of holding it almost like a reverse knuckle duster, so the 2 ends were like protruding out, and he just kind of jabbed her into both. But that's pretty creative. I don't think I've seen a horseshoe death like that in a movie before.
You've seen horseshoe deaths, but not like that.
I mean, you get people who get like bludgeoned with horseshoes. I've seen a few of them, but I haven't seen someone whose eyes have been poked out with a horseshoe before. Yeah. I quite liked it.
I agree. And like, it's actually 2 horseshoes, right?
Yeah.
So the other horseshoe was it was like a hook on the wall, basically.
Yeah, that's where I got confused, like the double horseshoe thing. Yeah, it's a pretty good effect as well, with her eyes all popped out. Yeah, the old mate Jason's mum character comes in and rambles a whole bunch of stuff where he's like, "Oh, we'll be bloody hiding again. I'll have to take care of you."
Film people.
They were making movies. They were film people.
Did you get, so in all of the scenes that she's in, she's holding something that looks like hair or something. Did you get what that was?
Yeah, it looks like a hairpiece.
It looks like she's holding a wig, or like it's like a big mound of hair.
She's like patting it and fiddling with her.
I have no idea. I didn't even question it. I was just like so distracted by her weird performance in general.
Yeah, well, crazy woman's got a bunch of hair. Everything's normal here.
So then part of the crew, like a whole bunch of them, the band, some of the band members and some of the crew members, they're at down at a pub. They've like left the lake and they've gone to a pub. I feel, Matt, you've probably been to this pub before, right? This is the Tramway Hotel in Fitzroy.
Oh, wow. No, I didn't know that. I was distracted by, like, I was just thinking, does this pub only serve VB?
Yeah, they've only got...
What's that? What's VB?
That's like...
Victoria Bitter.
Victoria's main kind of beer, and everyone's just scoffing down VB. It's not great.
It's not great.
No. So yeah, the part of the band are there, fucking animals, playing the fucking bongos. The Brian May guys banging about on the piano. It's pretty awful. Then we're back at the houseboat. Someone's just on a jet ski. Don't even know who it is. Just driving about.
Jet ski shenanigans. It's just madness, chaos. Just people having a good old time on a houseboat.
Yeah, the singer of the band, Sam, and Koala Cardigan Lady, they're drunkenly chatting, and in the process, the walkabout phone gets dropped in the lake. Fucking idiots.
Oh, not the phone. Take me, but not the walkabout phone.
Yeah, we need that walkabout phone. And then the woman who we saw in the shower earlier in that very gratuitous scene, we see another really grim shot of her walking out of the lake naked. It's like a POV shot, and she just looks at the camera. She's like, "Oh, it's only you. Don't know who I thought it was." And it's kind of just a weird red herring moment that's ultimately meaningless.
We don't know. We don't find out who it is who's looking at her, right? Or who she thinks it is looking at her.
Do you reckon it was John Michael Housen? He's like back for that bit.
I bet it was fucking Duncan.
Oh, fucking Duncan.
You know what?
Duncan and his undies.
Duncan did tell me a story while I was there. He told me a story that the last time that they were at Lake Eildon, his family was, that he saw a couple skinny dipping in like a I don't know, like a creek. He said that he took their clothes and ran off with their clothes.
Oh no!
Duncan!
What a big perv!
Oh, Duncan sucks.
Oh, that's got to be the worst thing ever. I mean, you do see it in movies and things a lot of the time. Like someone goes for a dip and their mates like run off with their clothes or whatever.
Yeah,
or they're in the shower room or so. Whilst taking a shower at school, they run off with all their clothes. They have to walk through the hallways butt naked. But that would just be like the worst thing ever. Can you imagine?
What's Duncan doing these days, Matt? Is he in prison?
I don't know. He might be. He might not. I think he had a kid at some point. I have no idea.
Oh no! He's
might be
spawning
dead.
more bogans.
He would be like 50 years old about now.
Wow.
But yeah, poor Duncan.
Poor Duncan.
So yes, the lady comes out of the lake, goes inside, feeds the cat that I guess is just now their cat, and
this is when she goes to bed.
Yeah. She goes to bed, and we see the POV of the killer, who takes a knife out of the drawer. Very unprepared killer. He hasn't even brought his machete with him.
He doesn't have his own fucking knife. What's he doing? I bet he didn't even watch Friday the 13th yet. This kill scene, I think, was the best one in the movie. Because he said he's got his knife from the drawer because he forgot his own. As she goes to bed and he's kind of underneath the bed. And it's essentially the Friday the 13th with the arrow that goes up through the bed, through the neck, except he just repeatedly stabs her from underneath extremely aggressively and violently. And all we really see is her like jerking up and down very violently on top of the bed and like spitting blood out of her mouth. And it is a fucking very aggressive and great kill scene. Even though we don't see like any like special effects in there, bar some blood spitting from the mouth, the way that she is able to like make herself convulse like that on top of the bed was really good.
Yeah, it is definitely the most vicious murder of the film. Then we get one of the dumbest. We see Gavin Wood, our mate, and he's got one of the female crew members that he's just making out with. and he's taking her onto the boat, and he's sort of drunkenly fumbling with her clothes. And then he goes off to get a condom, and oh my God, it's fucking gross. Like, all his lines here. At one point, he's like, "Oh, you're gonna get fed tonight." Like, is he talking to his
horrible
dick, or is he talking to the condom that he's gonna fill with jizz or something? Like, what? Like, which
way is pretty wrong.
Yeah, oh God, it's gross.
Can you imagine, like, having sex with that character?
Yeah.
He would just be commentating the whole time.
All right, now I'm going in. My willy's going in. About to come. Here we go. Yeah, it's
commence the feeding.
Oh God, he's awful. But yeah, as he's trying to get the condom out, the killer shoots him with a harpoon.
Ah, I thought it was an arrow. But yeah, harpoon is probably...
Again, send us an email, harpoon or arrow.
See, and in the beginning, you said it was an arrow, I said it's a stick, now I'm saying it's an arrow. I don't know what I'm seeing. All I know is this killer has many tools.
Yeah, but he's, harpooned or arrowed Gavin Wood. And again, like, it's not that it's a bad effect, but it's just shot and lit really badly, so it looks really dodgy.
I thought this was one of the better effects in the movie.
Yeah, it's a good effect. I just wish that it had have been a little bit darker, just shot a bit better or shot from a better angle.
He's commenting about, like, his erectile dysfunction. And that's when he gets harpooned.
Was he trying to get a chin up? Not a bar up, a bar up, sorry.
Chin up.
He was.
Almost had it.
Hey, I guess that's a payoff, right?
Yeah.
To that line. So it did make sense.
Yeah, it ultimately made sense. It paid off after an hour. It paid off. And then the lady that he was attempting to shag, the killer runs up behind her, stabs her through the neck. And yeah, the jet ski guy is just still going around and around and around.
He's having the time of his life.
And finally, thank God, he gets harpooned by the killer. Yeah, then Koala Cardigan Lady ends up finding Gavin Wood's body and freaks out. And then we kind of get into the big finale of the film. So now everyone's finally aware that there's a killer, finally, with, like, a few minutes left of the film.
We get the big reveal. We finally see him.
Yeah, so Alan Dale and all the remaining living crew members, they've locked themselves into a houseboat, and Alan Dale opens the door, and the killer is there. We finally see him in full view. He comes in, instantly chops off Alan Dale's fingers.
Oh, man.
And Alan Dale's just like, "Oh, bloody hell, you've chopped me fingers off."
Matt, how would you describe what the killer looks like? I feel like we need to paint the picture here.
He's bald. He's got... half his face is sort of burnt by acid, because the killer is called Acid Head. You find that out in the credits, right?
Luke the Acid Head.
What?
Luke the Acid Head, yeah.
I thought it was a fire.
Well, it must have been. Maybe it was an acid fire.
Wait. It's acid?
You're right.
I thought the whole thing was he was horribly burnt in a fire. Why is there now acid?
Yeah, he should have been called Firehead.
Yeah, he could.
So yeah, Acid Head, Luke the Acid Head, is played by a guy called Zlatko Kasumovic.
Wow.
I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Zlatko, he met Clayton Jacobson and Ollie Martin at Swinburne Film School, and he cast Ollie Martin in his film Killer Zombies, which is on the Blu-ray.
Oh, really?
I watched it, and it was interesting. Oh, and we talked about Nick Cave before. Zlatko is also in Ghosts of the Civil Dead, which Nick Cave was involved in. But one interesting little fact about Zlatko, so Matt might have seen this before, the original poster of Houseboat Horror has this kind of zombie head at the front, or like a dead body lying down in front of a lake, and it's just got nothing to do with the film at all. So that head, this like fake dead head, was made by Nick Dorning, who did the effects on Houseboat Horror, but he also worked on Zlatko's short film Killer Zombies, and it was like a zombie head made for that film that Ollie Martin just borrowed to do this poster that has no relevance to the film at all.
Wow.
Acid Head comes in. He's battling it out with Alan Dale. And in the scuffle, Alan Dale gets fucking macheted in the head really graphically. It's like a really insane shot.
His head like splits right open, and you get this like gross like digital zoom into the wound.
It's so mental. Like that zoom in is like, whoa, what's going on here?
Did you feel like Alan Dale, if he wanted to, he could take down Acid Head? Like Alan Dale is like a big dude, right? And he like exudes like aggression in a way. Like he's like always in control. And it looked like he could have done it if he wanted to. In real life, I reckon he could. In real life, he could take down a mass murder.
I gotta say, so up until this point, we had only ever seen the murderer's like feet or hands, and we finally get to see him. And it's that classic, we see too much of him.
Yes.
Because all of a sudden, he's just in full frame.
Mm.
There's no like close-ups, he's just there. And he's kind of like clumsily kind of fumbling around, like fighting someone. And it almost has that like cheap monster movie-esque, like, almost like Octoman or like a Hammer horror type monster movie where he's just like in the middle of a room flailing his arms around and immediately loses all kind of sense of fear and mystery that surrounded him. And he's not a very scary looking man or monster. He just looks very constipated in all of his shots. He's like trying to strangle someone, and he just looks like he's for dear life trying to squeeze out a shit. And the burn makeup on him as well, it's not the best. It kind of looks like clay that's just been like merged into his face.
That's what I was talking about at the start of the episode, is that the makeup would look okay. The special effects makeup would look okay if it was shot a bit better, and you wouldn't see like the edge of the wound.
I mean, this is whatever, but was there someone doing the lighting for this film? Do they have someone doing the light? Because everything is so bright, and
it's very Neighbours lighting, isn't it? Like it's very TV lit, where it feels like something that's been lit with the idea like this is going to be watched on a TV. We got to see everything clearly. Yeah, it's not great.
That's where a lot of this kind of fails due to the lighting and seeing too much. Yeah,
but also makes it much funnier though.
Yeah, I agree.
So the killer has absolutely annihilated Alan Dale's head, and then ends up chopping Sam, the singer of the band, but we don't really see where he chops him. But he sort of chops him with the machete, maybe in the stomach or something. Doesn't quite kill him. And then finds the koala cardigan lady in the shower, breaks her neck. just a quick one there. And then he's chasing after Alan Dale's girlfriend, running through outside. She kicks him in the balls, which again, like, as you said, Guy, not a threatening killer, and he's made extra not threatening by seeing him get kicked in the balls.
And he falls right to the ground. He's like, ugh.
And Sam, the singer, so he's still alive. He's been chopped up, but he runs after, joins in the chase. Both Sam and Alan Dale's girlfriend, they jump onto one of the houseboats and take off to escape. And Acid Face watches from the shore. Acid Face ends up chasing them down on we don't really see it.
I'm going to say he was doing the jet ski. Because I just want to imagine him on the jet ski, like, having the time of his life.
Yeah, let's just pretend he's on the jet ski. And yeah, he gets up onto the boat, again starts fighting with Sam, beating him up. I really love how much he's just smashing this guy to pieces. And then a fight breaks out on the roof of the boat, and what happens? Like, she lights something on fire. I was kind of baffled by the details of it.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. He gets something thrown on him.
Yeah, he gets petrol thrown on him.
Was that petrol?
Petrol. She said, grab petrol or get
But
petrol.
it's like solid. It almost like she like throws him with like chum or something. Like it's like bits of things.
Yeah.
I thought she chummed him.
She chummed. Well, chum's flammable, so it's fine. Yeah. What has she got? She's got some kind of flamethrower or something,
All of a sudden, yeah. Well, they're on every houseboat.
In my head, I put it together like there was a barbecue on top of a roof or something, and it was like a a hose from a gas tank. I don't know what it was.
I think you're right, though. I think I did see a barbecue, but it looks really dangerous when she lights that. You can see her kind of visibly like flinch when it sets on fire. But they set old mate Acid Head on fire, and he is well and truly in flames. And I wanted to talk a little bit just about the stuntman. So this stunt was performed by a guy called Billy Superman Smith. You might have noticed the film, I don't know if you saw it, it's actually dedicated to him because he died shortly after this film. He didn't die in this stunt.
Oh, thank God.
But he's one of the main guys in that documentary I mentioned before, Jacko Presents The Mad Devils Down Under. And he was a pretty fascinating guy. He was like a DJ, like he worked as a DJ, but just did stunts as well. So he's like a stuntman DJ. He had like insanely fast reflexes. So there's a sequence in this documentary where he's jumping over cars. So cars are like driving at him full speed and he's fucking jumping over them.
Wow.
It's insane, man. It's like one of the craziest things I've seen. But it's ultimately like really sad because he's like this very passionate about stunts. He wants to be a big Hollywood stunt guy. And at the end of the documentary, it turns out he committed suicide. And I think he was just a guy that was just like living on the edge. And yeah, it's intense.
Oh, that's terrible.
They show, it was really terrible. But they showed the filming of this scene from Houseboat Horror as well. And he is properly in flames for that shot.
Dedicated to his craft.
So Acid Head is in flames, falls into the water. He's done. And then Alan Dale's girlfriend goes over to Sam, the singer, touches him, but then he turns around and he's all fucking burnt. And his face is all fucked up. It's like this weird dream sequence moment. And then she wakes up in an ambulance. And it's like, whoa, what the fuck just happened there? It's very, very like Friday the 13th, like Jason jumping out of the water.
I liked that. It was like the burn victim on the film set. It's like the story came full twist and it was like oh my God, now he is the burn victim.
Yeah.
That was actually probably the only thing about this film that kind of, I was like, ooh, a cheeky little thing they've written into that.
And yeah, the ambulance attendant in the scene as well, by the way, is Ollie Martin in a director's cameo. It's kind of a ridiculous performance. He's like doing a weird American accent or something. Then we're back at the lake. The rest of the band, Animal, Brian May, they arrive, and the sister of the killer comes out, and she's talking about the terrible things that have happened. She's talking about her little brother being killed on a film set in a fire, and she's like, "Oh, we better call the authorities, but first, let's go to the barn." And she smiles. They walk off to the barn. Unfortunately, we don't get to see those annoying fucking band members get killed. And then the final shot, we have a shot of like a chain holding like one of the houseboats in place. And a little title comes up talking about how peace and tranquility have returned to the lake. And then a hand comes out and grabs the chain. And then the title's like, "For a time." That hand as well was also Ollie Martin, apparently.
Of course they had to get that final little scare, and of course gonna come back out the fucking water.
Oh, mate, well, I fucking pooed my pants in that shot.
It was it's such an awkward phrasing though. For a time.
For a time.
I actually didn't. I was like, wait, what? What does that mean? I actually completely forgot about the previous sentence. For a time.
So that is Houseboat Horror, and maybe just before we get to our wrongometer score, I wanted to give you just a few little bonus stupid tidbits just to add to the chaos of this. So as I said before, apparently the shoot was absolute fucking mayhem. The cast and crew were staying during the week, like sleeping on the houseboats, or just like living on the set basically. And it was a combination of a film crew and a TV crew. and they apparently hated each other. And the film crew hated the TV crew because they were just drunk all the time. That's according to Gavin Wood. Apparently the catering was fucking horrendous, and they were just eating lettuce sandwiches through the shoot.
That doesn't sound very nice.
They didn't have much time to shoot it, so they'd just do a couple of run-throughs, then they'd just be like, bang, do it. And Kendall Flanagan, the second director, he was just like, one take, moving on. My favorite story is that they couldn't afford a smoke machine. So they wanted a scene to be smoky, so they set a eucalyptus branch on fire and like ran it through the houseboat, and it ended up making Zlatko, the guy playing the killer, he fainted because of the fumes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. And then just some things about the post-production. So, as I said, Clayton Jacobson, he shot all of these pickups for it. He worked on the film for a year and a half. Whoa. He was never paid a cent for this film. He didn't have an editing suite for the film, so they just used to have to randomly find editing suites to edit on VHS. So he'd suddenly get a call from Ollie Martin being like, all right, come over to the Telstra building. We've got a VHS set up there ready for you to edit. And at one point he was editing in a car park with like in a van with an editing setup powered by a generator. It's just madness.
What? That's ridiculous. Wow. And to think all of that and not even get fucking paid for it.
I know. And the distributors who were involved in the film would come around to watch the edits, and they were just like, this is fucking unreleasable. And eventually the film was released by a company called All Media Enterprises, but they weren't a company that really released rental videos. They just made educational films.
Wow. Whoa, that's great.
So they just had no clue how to properly release this, so it had this terrible release. And then, very famously, when it came out, it was banned in Queensland, which is a very famous thing in Australia. Basically, while the rest of Australia was becoming more progressive, Queensland remained this very conservative, pro-British, very Christian kind of place, and they would just fucking ban everything. Eventually, the government changed to like a more progressive Labour government in the late 80s, and things started to get unbanned. But apparently the film that stopped the banning from happening was the film Bad Taste.
Really?
So Houseboat Horror was one of the last films to get banned because it was a Labour government, but this film board was like still in place that was still just banning things. So it was kind of an embarrassment that Houseboat Horror got banned. But when Bad Taste got banned, it was really embarrassing because it had already been rated by the Australian Film Board. They'd already paid... You know, the distributors were expecting it to come out in Queensland, and it kind of fucked over the film distribution company and the rest of the Australian government. So that was kind of the final straw, and it was abolished. But yeah, that has that. When you used to see the Houseboat Horror video, it had the banned in Queensland sticker on it, which was kind of like the, badge of honor for films like this.
Oh, brilliant.
And yeah, of course, like after it came out, it got a cult following thanks to Tony Martin's Late Show bit. Eventually, after that, it got screened on TV on Channel 9 in 1994. And it has a few celebrity fans as well. Apparently, Quentin Tarantino loves Houseboat Horror.
Wow.
Not the first time we've mentioned him loving a film on this podcast. He loved Killer Tongue as well. What was his comment?
He said, Killer Tongue, wow.
Wow.
I don't think he loved it.
And I don't know how true this is, but I've also came across something, I think somewhere in the extras. It was claimed that James Wan was inspired by Houseboat Horror to make Saw.
That sounds like a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Yeah, that does sound pretty ridiculous. And one of the saddest things about this film, obviously it wasn't a big success despite the cult following an amazing Blu-ray release and all that sort of stuff. But Ollie Martin wanted this to be a series. He wanted to have all these other, similar themed films. And the next film was going to be called Condo Horror. But sadly, that never happened. And now both he and the other director have passed away. So I don't think we'll ever see Condo Horror. But there you go. That is Houseboat Horror.
Well, Dave, well done for all that research. That was a stellar effort, mate.
That was my summer holiday was basically spent clawing through Houseboat Horror extras.
Hey, I've got a few facts too.
Oh, really? Oh,
I'll just fly through them, right? Brian Mannix lived in Airport West, Dave.
Oh, really?
Wonder if he knew your nan.
Yeah. That's where we filmed Cat Sick Blues, Guy.
Oh, yeah.
In Airport West.
Oh, all the Ted scenes. All the Ted house scenes, sorry, when he's in his house. Yeah. Brian Mannix also won a beauty contest in 1971. But he was titled Mr. Ocean Grove. Ocean Grove is a seaside town in Victoria. Last fact, here we go. As we were talking about John Michael Housen before, he co-created a children's TV show for ABC called Adventure Island, and it starred this sort of like a man in a costume, like a furry, Percy Panda, and Percy was evolved into Shirty, the slightly aggressive bear, which was a character in the Late Show, and
oh fuck,
and Shirty was like in the first season of the Late Show was played by Russell Crowe.
Oh my god, wow, that's a great fact. I love that Shirty, the slightly aggressive bear sketch. Yeah. It's so good. All right, well, should we get to the wrongometer? So the wrongometer, Matt, is how wrong the film is, how much it shouldn't exist, how fucked up it is. This is a tough one. This film definitely shouldn't exist. I think it's like this bizarre, lives in this weird place where it's like neighbors, actors, like making a slasher film. It feels fucking wrong to be watching this. I think from an Australian perspective, I think the wrongometer is going to be higher than it is for Guy. Is going to be my guess. So for me, because of the like having Ellen Dale, having Animal, having John Michael Housen in this absolutely fucking ridiculous shot on video slasher film, I'm gonna go for a 7.
All right,
cool.
How about Guy? What about you?
So for me, I think Dave, you're very correct in saying that this will be more wrong for an Australian than it would be for someone else. For me, listening to all of your stories about this film, it's a very interesting backstory, and the people involved, now that I know who they are, kind of, it does add a level of interest and wrongness to this film. But if we look at like the film itself, I mean, yeah, it's a homage to shot on video slasher movies, and the killings are like pretty bog standard. It's just a bog standard slasher essentially. For the content of the film that I would, I guess, deem wrong would be all the fucking ridiculous dialogue. I think the characters in this film are so insane that for me that was the wrongest thing about the film, the actual content of the film, not thinking about the backstory. With that considered, I will give it a 5. I was going to go lower before, but I think 5 will be that'll be my final answer.
May I make a suggestion here? Since
Please
I was invited to this episode to talk about, you share my knowledge in Australian genre film. May we have a different meter in this in this episode? There could be a drongo meter,
Drongometer.
So I've never seen. Maybe the Bucks Party has more drongos in it. Maybe Waking Fright has more drongos in it. But I think this would have to be a 9 on the drongometer. Wouldn't you agree, Dave?
I would agree, yeah. A 9, even a 10 on that.
Even a 10, yeah.
All right, there we go.
So solid on the drongometer.
Amazing. Well, that's it for Houseboat Horror. Matt, thank you so much for joining for this episode. It was a lot of fun to have you here, and I think you really helped Guy through the Australian nightmare that is Houseboat Horror.
My ass. I mean, I'm so glad that you were here to answer all of Dave's questions, because if you weren't here, Dave would have been asking me, like, do you know who that is? And every fucking time I'd be like, nope. I didn't know who anyone was. So I'm extremely grateful you were here to answer all of Dave's questions.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I apologize to Guy for having to sit through this. I really enjoyed it. I watched it twice, and the second time I enjoyed it more, and I was appreciating the special effects and things like that. But I can see why it would be frustrating to Guy. It made me laugh while I was watching it, thinking about you, because just your reaction from that great episode you did on the Bucks party, and you sort of had a similar sort of what are these blokes talking about? They're just all the slang. Dave had to explain slang and stuff, and So I apologise that this film was made and you had to see it, but I really loved doing this episode, and I really did enjoy this film. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Matt.
We need to get you back on.
For sure.
Love that.
Next Australian film.
Yes.
So, Guy, what are we doing next time?
Next time we are doing Nighty Night Mayonaka no Akumu, which kind of translates to the nightmare in the dead of night.
Ooh.
It's got both an English title and a Japanese title that come together. These aren't for separate releases. They have the both simultaneously.
Okay.
So yeah, Nighty Night Mayonaka no Akumu is what we'll be doing next time.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to that.
Sounds awesome.
Matt, do you want to take us away with a quote from Houseboat Horror?
Oh, I actually have one here. So I went to Gavin Woods' website, and there was a direct quote from a review. He does corporate events, and so there was a review, and I thought this was fitted in with this movie. And the quote was, "One of the things I liked was the way Gavin could very quickly fill in any holes in the script as they arose, which was needed a few times." And I thought that's exactly what he does in Houseboat Horror.
And that's a perfect place to end the pod. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at SMSW Podcast, and you can send us an email at showmesomethingwrong@gmail.com. Oh yeah, and give us a rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, please. Goodbye.
They were making movies. They were film people.